I think we're all responsible. I think teachers are responsible. I think parents are responsible. I think makers are responsible. I think government is responsible. I think we ourselves are responsible. Government has taken a lot of action in cyber smart programs in Australia. Basically, cyberbullying issues online and social media addiction actually does lend itself a lot to bullying. Because when I'm comparing with another and perhaps feeling a little bit jolted because somebody else has a better profile than me, then that may lead to jealousy, discontent, and bullying. So they are raising the profile, they are visiting young children in schools, they are raising awareness about cyber smart activities. Studyladder.com.au, for example, has a whole module on how do we know when we've been on the internet too long. And they're an internet-based education company. But when I think about makers of these devices like Steve Jobs, who's come out with classic statements prior to his passing, saying, I would not allow my children to have access to an iPod until they're in year 11 and 12, then I think, well, what the heck are you shoving it down the throats of my kids? So someone's responsible. These companies have to fess up. Have they done impact assessments of their tools? Have they considered social implications of their tools? Have they considered ethics? And perhaps the cat's out of the bag. It's too late. The genie's out of the bottle. But why do they insist on sending their kids to schools? They have no iPads, and yet my child rolls up to a public high school in Australia when he's 5 years of age and is told he has a free email account. My husband and I look at each other and think, for what? And then there's a letter that goes home in year 7 that says, you know, next year as your child is preparing for high school, it requires an iPad. For what? And last time I checked, my kids were still having problems with multiplication and grammar and spelling. These iPads don't solve these problems. They promulgate them and they propagate them. So who's responsible? Everybody in society. Because I have a feeling this look-down generation is just going to get worse. And people are trying to create new devices like Google Glasses, where you're looking out, not in your palm, for example. But that's just going to cause even us to look even more ridiculous. You know, winking at the camera, moving funny. We're already doing this. We're already getting backaches. It's been proven. There are structural, physical problems as a result of children holding iPods. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the glasses and the band and everything else. We're going to be walking down like this with glasses on, even worse, because the internet will be streaming out of our brains basically full time. Don't control that. At least now we've gone from the arcade game scenario in the shop to where it's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, it's accessible everywhere, it's free. Wi-Fi is free, just give me Wi-Fi. I happened to visit the island of Anguilla earlier this year in April. The country of X numbers of thousands of people had never been exposed to Wi-Fi. Since last November to this April, they've had, 5 or 6 months of Wi-Fi? You see Wi-Fi labels now on supermarkets, Wi-Fi labels at gymnasiums, Wi-Fi labels down the street at a corner store. Wi-Fi. Give me Wi-Fi. I can eat Wi-Fi. And instead of the kids now playing freely in the cafes, they got their iPads. So who was to blame there? The person that Wi-Fi'd Anguilla? The company that said, we'll give you free Wi-Fi, free food? The first thing somebody does when they visit, usually, if they're a professional, if they come to your home, do you have Wi-Fi? Who wants it? Do you want it? Did you come to see me or did you come to do work? Or your kid wants it. He can't live without the Wi-Fi. Don't give it. See what happens. Don't give it. But Wi-Fi has become more important than food. Connectivity is everywhere. And then I'm thinking, what next? What's after the Wi-Fi, the free Wi-Fi everywhere? What next? They've already got us distracted. They've already got us responding to the next message. We're already getting too many emails in our inbox. Youngsters are sending up to 3,000 texts in a week. distraction. Then what? Then what? Just buy this one and this one and this one and this one. And you know what? Maybe in the future, you don't have to carry computers, just inject a chip. Connect securely anywhere. We're sleeping. And while we're sleeping, the upgrade motif, the planned obsolescence is just keep buying, buying, buying. So these companies, how will they continue this addiction? How will they continue the constant flow of money coming into their organizations? By giving you more of what you want. More features, more connectivity, more instantaneous. Don't worry if you're crazy, we're making money. The sad thing is that employees of these organizations are everyday parents who are struggling with the addictions. So I go to work to make $100,000 a year. I'm great, I'm an IT professional. I know how to make LCD screens better. I know how to produce better software programs. And I go home and I see my kid stuck behind a screen 24/7, can't disengage, can't hold a conversation with an adult. And I say, I'm feeding my family. I'm doing the right thing. I've got shelter over their heads. And this is not a simple one-sided scenario. This is happening everywhere. So either people have stopped having kids altogether because they're too engrossed to actually even make love, that they're forgetting even about the fundamental concepts of how a child comes into the world. And I'm not exaggerating. These studies have been proven in many different countries. Or I'm one of the parents who are creating these devices, and I go home and I feed the same things to my kids. Who's winning? We're all losing. We're all not looking up.